Hey, what's up? It's me, Awesome Alley.
And I'm Raisa, and we have some very
Woo!
exciting news.
We are launching a new book. It is called Stop Stopping Yourself. And today we are going to be interviewing our very first author for this book. I'm super hyped up because this book is going to set you onto the motivational track that you need for 2022. So please, Risa, who is our guest today?
Well, we have an amazing TV host personality and new author talking about life's direction. So let's welcome Noah Aquino.
Woo!
Hello, everyone. Hello, Raisa. Hi, Ali. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm so happy to be here.
We're so happy to have you here too. Thank you for joining us. So as Noah, what we do here on the show is we always ask one question and one question only to start it off, and that is, who are you and what do you do?
So my name is Noah Aquino, and I am an author of Stop Stopping Yourself. Woo! Oh, yeah, so exciting. I'm so happy to be here with you. Thank you for the opportunity. And on top of being now a published author, I currently work part-time at my church. I'm also a student at Seneca College in the journalism program. I'm in my last semester, so I'm almost done. And I'm hoping and praying for an in-person convocation, but we'll have to wait and see. And I'm currently doing my internship at Breakfast Television.
Wow, Breakfast
Whoa.
Television.
Yeah.
Did I not just tell you he was a TV personality? Look at this guy. He's on Breakfast Television.
Oh, yes.
But we're not here for TV, right? We're here for books.
Yeah.
So Noah,
Yes.
how does it feel to be a new author?
It feels surreal because I have read my fair share of books, and writing has just become a part of my life essentially. Of course, you'd write essays throughout elementary and high school, but I really got into it in university, and especially in journalism, where I really got to hone my skills in writing. And writing for something that I'm passionate about is even better. So it feels fantastic to be an author and to join so many other fantastic authors in this book. I'm quite honored.
Wow, well, yes, we are glad to have you in this book. And like you said, throughout high school, throughout elementary, you're writing essays, but in university, that's when you can really learn to put your words together, your thoughts to paper. And you took that skill, which most people would just, have, and you put it into the book. You wrote your chapter, and your chapter is about life's direction. So what's that about, and how did you come up with that topic?
So the title is called Life's Direction, and my chapter is essentially about having that support system behind you. For me at least, it's very important to have a support system. You can't do it all by yourself. That's just too much of a heavy weight and a heavy load to be put on you. So having that strong support system, whether it be your family, really close friends, or even some colleagues and other peers that you've met, having those people to support you and lift you up in those times where you're feeling a little bit down is really important. And the second half of the chapter is reminding yourself of your why. When you're passionate about what you're doing, right? Let's say, for example, you're into musical theater, right? And you want to be on Broadway, you want to be in the West End, even here, Mervish in Toronto, but you're getting no's after every audition that you're taking, right? You are getting small casting roles in different musicals or plays. You get a little bit down, but you have to remind yourself of, why am I doing this? I'm doing this for my family, in order for me to be, to find some more happiness. I'm not to say that I'm not happy now with what I'm doing, but to have that why to carry you through. And that is what my chapter is all about.
Wow. So it's in those moments, you're deep down in the trenches somewhat, and when you're down, like you said, after those rejections, those can start to stack and pile, and you can feel it on your back. And like you said, your why is kind of that. All right, let's shed this off. We got to remember why I'm here, trudging back up those steps, and to have that person to give you that helping hand to get up that first step so you can continue.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. And, when you have those negative thoughts and feelings in your mind, it does pile up. And growing up, I've been told, I've been taught, and I've learned it's not healthy for your mental and spiritual health to bottle it all up. You
Mm.
can't do that to yourself. So having that support system that's there, you're able to release those thoughts and emotions to ensure that you can be mentally healthy and stable. Of course, there are moments where you feel that, oh my goodness, am I being a burden to my family and friends for laying all of this onto them? I talk about that in my chapter, so give it a read. But it doesn't necessarily feel that way all the time. It's
Mm.
okay to say, this is one of my go-to people. If they're feeling down, okay, here's how I'm feeling. So definitely open up. Feel free to share your thoughts and emotions with the people around you.
I think that's a great point that you brought up. Is probably a reason why most people don't open up is because they do feel like a burden to like their friends or their
Yeah.
families. Like, oh, how do I open up to them without making them seem like I'm bothering them, right? Or putting my problems onto them. So great tips, guys, to read. Grab the book.
Mhm.
It is on Amazon right now. Just look up "Stop Stopping Yourself," published by APSO, and you can grab a copy of Noah, or you can ask Noah and you can get a signed copy. His Instagram is going at the bottom there, so you can get that famous signature of that TV personnel right there, Noah.
Oh, well, Noah, so I like how the main focus of your chapter, as we're talking about it right now, is that support system. But I think even on Instagram, there's like this kind of like new trend where you have to be like the alpha, the solo, the lone wolf, put your head down, grind, ignore everybody. If there's toxicity in your life, cut it out. So, um, how do you determine when do you like work alone and work in solitude
Mm.
versus with other people, and how do you embrace the community around you?
I first want to acknowledge that, there is definitely truth to that you have to grind, you have to put the work in, put the elbow grease, and do what you have to do personally when it comes to your personal development. And that's why we have this book here, but also the professional development, right?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely focus on yourself, do what you need to do to um, really excel personally. But when it comes to certain tasks that come along the way, whether it be in your life, whether it be for work or for school, there are going to be times where you just can't do it yourself. So to differentiate really is just to take a look at the task at hand. Some of the basics, really keep it really simple. Try not to overthink it. So look at the task. If this is something that you can do on yourself, and you'll be fine without the distractions of having other people around you, and you'll be able to do it in a timely manner, then definitely do it yourself. But it's also knowing your capabilities, knowing yourself. And yes, that comes with time and development, but learning what those are at an earlier stage is going to benefit you in the long run. And knowing, okay, I can only do X, Y, and Z, or I can only do up to this amount. Okay, I'm going to help accomplishing this task. So I know this person will do well. Okay, I know this person will do well. Let's put our minds together and do it, right? So it really depends on what you're working on, and to see if you can do it yourself or to have some support. Again, if it's something that you are personally working on,
Mm-hmm.
you can let your family and friends know, or your support people know that, okay, hey, just to let you know, I'm working on this. It's solo, but I would really appreciate the extra boost of morale every now and then.
Mm. So it's giving
Okay.
them that like, all right, just the awareness for them to say, oh yeah, Noah, I'm not seeing him as much. That's because he's working on this. He's grinding on this. He's trying to get a big boy, get all muscle jacked up, right? Hitting the gym there.
Exactly.
So I want
Ali,
to,
if only you knew.
yeah.
But it is exactly it. It's also holding you accountable, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
To make sure that you're following through with your intentions. Because once you put it out there, you can't take it back, right?
Yes.
So you have to follow
Mhm.
through, and you have to make sure that you're doing well under that pressure.
Wow, great, great. I
Yes.
love that. And I can relate to that when I was training for my fight, there was a moment around the 4 week time. I was just talking to one of my partners the other day when we were training. He was talking about like, oh, at one point, like 4 weeks in, I had all this pressure on me where I was like, okay, I want to represent my gym. I gotta train hard, put my head down. And there was a moment I just like broke down for a second. I'm so glad he was there because we were talking it out, and he helped me to boost back up the morale to finish off my fight camp and then end up, pushing through. And we were talking like those moments when you're down deep below is when everything changes. It's either you fail at that point because you let yourself stay at that point, or that's when you rise up and become your best possible self. Each time you hit one of those rock bottom peaks, you shoot back up to a higher and better version of yourself because you've gone through the toughness. You've walked across the rocks. So now you feel better. You're tougher, and each time you grow a little bit stronger.
Yeah, and sorry, Noah, I was just
No.
gonna say, but that also comes with what Noah is saying is like having that support
Exactly,
system.
yes.
So even if you're down at the bottom, someone who's there for you and someone who's standing up for you is the one kind of pulling you up. And I think this also relates to when people are into their spirituality or religion, is that when you're at the rock bottom, who is pulling you up? Higher power or God? So I think that kind of leads me into my next question, Noah. You are a religious guy. So when you were finding your life's direction and like learning about your support system, did that come from your church community, or did it come from your family? When did you know that, hey, I need a support system, I need to talk to somebody? Where did that come from, and when?
It's so great question. It came from a time when it was really like bad, or not to get into the nitty gritty, but like when we were going through a lot of personal things in my life where my mental health wasn't at its greatest. There was a lot happening behind the scenes that I wasn't putting on a front. And I realized that I couldn't, it was impacting my grades essentially, and who I was, or who people knew me to be, right? And I hate, that's a big word, but I hate being down and negative all the time. Like, yes, you do need those days where you just need to, cry it out and just let it be, let it happen. But I'm not that type of person. I'm more of, trying to bring a positive light to those around me. So when I was at that bottom essentially, or when my eyes were opened, is when I realized that I needed to talk to my close family and friends. I know it's quite vague, my explanation of when and where, but it was at that particular moment where I was like, I can't do this alone. And I didn't want to feel like a burden to my friends and constantly going to them being like, hey, I'm not feeling good. And that's where if you have, faith and are religious, that's where your faith comes in, or spirituality comes in, that you can rely on God or higher power, or whoever you believe, and you can read spiritual quotes, you can read scripture to help lift you up and enlighten you. Because once you hit that bottom, there's nowhere to go but up, right? And you'll have your family and friends to bring you up along the way, but there's only so much that they can do because they're only human. They're only human, just like you and me, and nobody's perfect, right? So going to that higher power, going to God and asking him or them to give you strength and courage to continue on is what really personally got me through some of the toughest times.
Oh, very nice.
Yes, I love that. I love that. So, sometimes turn to your friends, family, but also a higher power sometimes to give you that extra pull that you might need. And Noah, after, your after when you went into that somewhat dark place and you're feeling really down, after coming out of it, how do you feel now? Do you feel like you've changed as a person on both mentally and then like physically because you've taken different actions? How do you think that moment of being down there has changed you for today?
It's definitely, it's a long process because it happened quite a number of years ago. So it obviously didn't happen overnight. But since that moment, I've been able to acknowledge the different emotions that I'm feeling or the different thoughts, negative thoughts that come into my head. I'm like, okay, let's take it back a notch. It's not that serious. But also to acknowledge that, okay, maybe these are the true feelings that I'm having and I just haven't acknowledged it. So knowing where and how to mitigate those, rather negative thoughts and feelings is what I've learned throughout my time since that, low point. But now, like I said, I've been able to acknowledge it. I can continue on with my day, and I know the exact people I need to go to talk about X, Y, and Z. Or if I'm feeling really low, I can open scripture, I can read motivational quotes to keep me pushing. So it's been I'm only 23. It's been a lifelong journey. Yeah.
Oh, I
But
thought you were like 26 with all of that
oh
happening.
my goodness.
Maturity.
He's a 50-year-old, don't you know? 50-year-old looking
Went through
young.
the whole spiritual journey.
Yeah, it really has been. And it's not done. It's not done yet. It's, I think, something that I may not ever perfect, but it's something that, I was ready and willing to share, which is why I am so blessed to be a part of this book and to share my journey and my story with essentially everyone.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. Thinking about the greater picture. And with thinking about the greater picture, Noah, I think a lot of people don't have necessarily a vision for themselves, or they don't have like where they see themselves in the future, or they'll just be going along in life. And when they do get into those doubt moments, one of the big main themes in your chapter is the why. So, how do you think people can find their why? Does it have to be something bigger than themselves pulling them forward, or is it like something internally that they can pull forward? So what is, or and how can someone find the why?
It is a mixture of both, um, depending on how spiritual or religious you are. For myself, speaking for me, it's a mixture of both. Um, I am doing what I am doing because I feel that this is what I was born to do and what I need to do during my time here. But also, I want to make my mom proud, my dad, my grandparents, and my whole immediate family proud that the sacrifice that they've made to come to Canada to give myself and my siblings a better life. I want to make sure that um, it's my way of saying thank you, right?
Mm,
So you may not have to look too far to find your why. It could be, I want to make my family proud. It could be, I want to um, buy this sports car. I want to gain this amount of, influence, a positive influence with my friends and followers on XYZ. So it's to ensure that you achieve what you want to, and that's why the why is important. And again, to further explain, to find your why, you don't have to look much further than it could be family or friends. So
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. Being grateful can definitely help you find your why. So, like you were saying just now, you were looking towards your parents, your immediate family, I should say, the sacrifice that they had to do and that they had to give up, and in order for you to have the life that you do. So it's kind of, I'm grateful for that. Let me make my best of the opportunity. That's my why. I'm pushing for it to give them back. Which, like someone like that, right?
mhm.
Yeah.
And it's important to also acknowledge that it's not it may not be good to really have other people's views of you influence what you are doing, right?
Yes.
Like, yes, you also need to focus on yourself, that this is something that you are passionate about, this is something that you love to do, and don't care about what other people are saying, whether they're commenting on your posts or they're replying to your tweets or they're adding you on Twitter and what have you, you are doing what you're doing. And if you think that is good, then it's good. And as long as you're passionate about it, then really full steam ahead, nothing can stop you.
I love that. I
Yep.
love that. One other thing to add to that is that you just said was about people's comments, their opinions of you. Something that Gary Vee and Patrick but David have said that is very similar to that is when you get those negative comments, don't listen to it. But also the other flip of the coin is when you get the good comments, take it with a grain of salt so it doesn't inflate your ego and you get taken off your path. So you take everything with a very small grain of salt and just say, all right, cool, thank you, acknowledge it and move on so you can stay focused, laser focused on your why and your purpose. So Noah, spot on that.
Thank you. And you can use those negative comments to fuel the fire that's within you to keep pushing forward and to excel and impress them even more to areas that you yourself could not have thought to achieve. So yeah, that's that.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, Noah, so as we're talking about like hate comments and all of that and, building that support system, what's the difference between an insult and critical feedback? How do you know if something's actually just a hate comment and then someone's, they're actually not part of your support system? They're breaking it down.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a great question. And I try to simplify it. Of course, there's the dictionary definition of an insult and criticism, but for overall greater understanding, an insult is quite subjective, in my opinion, where it comes from a personal attack, right? It feels like a personal attack to you, where they're so focused on your image, on your body, where it's quite negative, the way you speak, the way you express yourself, where it comes from a negative area where it doesn't really lift you up and support you, where it may come across or it does come across as offensive. Yes, it's much harder to decipher whether it is an insult or criticism on social media since you don't see the tone of their voice and their body language. It's definitely much more difficult. But when it comes to the criticism, sure, they can have similar comments about your image, about your overall look, but that is coming from a professional standpoint. Even personally, I would argue those areas of improvement where, oh, hey, I was looking at what you were wearing the other day, and I think it would have looked better if you wore this jacket. It looked good, but with this jacket. So to me, if someone told me that, I wouldn't take that as an insult because you're just trying to help me improve myself, right? And it comes from a place of genuine care for that person and not from a place of malice. So that is the biggest difference between criticism and insult, right? And it's important also to note that it's good to be a lifelong learner, not to be so stubborn and stuck up in a sense where, oh, I know what I'm doing. I don't need you to tell me what to do. You're younger than me. You don't know much. Not the case. And it works the opposite way, right? Oh, I know way more technology than you old folk, so you don't need to tell me X, Y, and Z. No, it doesn't work that way, right? So coming from a place of care where you genuinely want to help them is where the criticism comes in, and being a lifelong learner where you're open to that criticism and taking it with that grain of salt, like you said, Ali, right? So that to me is the main difference between having insults and that constructive criticism. And sometimes you need to have your friends tell it to you straight. And if that comes off as offensive, then if it's a offensive comment from a close family or close friend, then probably not an offensive comment or an insult. They're just telling to you straight. No one's telling you. I need to tell you, so here it is, because I love you and I care for you, right?
Yeah.
So if it comes from that point of view, then it's, criticism. But to your initial question, primarily subjective for the insult, and it's quite objective for criticism.
All right. All right.
Very
Thank you, Noah.
nice.
And Risa,
Yeah, I just wanted to take a moment to say hello to some of our viewers for tuning in.
yes.
That was a really great response. Yeah, so we have Latifa, we have Wahid saying, bless you and your family. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, very powerful on that question, Noah. And then also, Apso is great. So
Thank
thank
you.
you so
That
much.
is so true.
I'm curious on your thoughts with this. I know Risa mentioned hate comments earlier, but this insult and criticism. What I kind of gathered from that was the insult is if it's coming out of a sense of jealousy, personal attack towards you, don't even listen to it. And I personally would add on to that is if they're not in your close circle or that support group, don't even listen to it at all. So if it's online, don't bother with it. You know what I mean? Or if there's somebody who you look up to sometimes, that's a great way to take criticism. If it's like someone you're looking up to or who someone you really trust and believe in, like a mentor or a coach, right? And they're giving you that out of, like you said, out of a place of genuine care. And then the one thing that you said that wrapped it all perfectly together was, I love you, but this is what's happening. I love you. I'm coming out of love to make you better, not make you better, but see where you're going wrong at the moment. I'm here because out of love, not out of jealousy and greed, or to stop your progress. I'm trying to make you grow quicker and continue with your dream. So Noah, great response there.
Well, thank you, Ali, as well. So Noah, where can we find the book? How can we get the signed copy?
Where do we get the signed
the family
copy?
discount?
Well, you can purchase the book today, right now on Amazon. Search Stop Stopping Yourself and you will see it right there. Or if you want a signed copy from me, you can reach out to my Facebook at Noah Aquino Media or DM me. My DMs are open on Instagram and Twitter at Noah Aquino. And it is only $20. I think it's a steal for the amount of knowledge that you're going to gain from our other authors that I'm so lucky to be in the company of. So $20 either on Amazon or personally message me for a signed copy from me, and I'll be more than happy to send a copy over to you.
I love that. I love that. Guys, like Noah said, Amazon or him, but we want you to get that signed copy. So go to Noah, hit him up. DM Noah. You guys want that signed copy. Trust me, it'll be worth millions once he's with breakfast television in New York and Times Square.
Global News.
Yeah, exactly.
I got that signed copy of this kid right here. Not kid, but this young adult. I got his book. First published book. So that's a big W for you. And Noah, I just have one last question to wrap this whole interview up. If you could have a billboard anywhere in the world, where would it be and what would it say on it?
Oh, good question. I would have the billboard here in Toronto because sure, I am in the GTA, not Toronto Central, but this is where I grew up. So having that here would become full circle for me. Sure, it would be nice to have it, in the Big Apple in LA, but it would be even more special if it was here at Yonge Dundas Square. And what would it say? Oh my goodness. Don't stop, support each other, and love yourself.
Nice.
Yeah.
Don't stop. So support each other. Love yourself. Short, sweet, to the point. I love that. And it's impactful, right? Because you're saying support one another, but love yourself at the same time. Perfect.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Noah. Thank you to our viewers who are watching. And again, thank you, Noah. Make sure that you get your book from Noah. Make sure you DM him. If you want the ebook, you can go to Amazon. But to get your signed copy,
Hit up Noah.
DM Noah
Yes.
on Instagram or Facebook. So thank you so much once again. This was presented
By
by
APSO. Awesome people.
Shaping our world.
Remember, you are awesome.
And you can make the world a better place.
Bye.